right, I have with me the amateur and national champion in MMA for India. That is Mr. Varun Sanyal, and it's an honor to have you here on Republic TV. And it's the start of the MFN Edition 15 Matrix Fight Night, and we are going to talk about how MMA is in fact reaching newer heights in India. Of course, many of the youngsters are also interested in the mixed martial arts, and who else better than Varun to tell us about that. So Varun, first of all, how does it really feel to see that there's so many people today lining up to catch a glimpse of the MMA stars in India, to in fact catch a glimpse of that side, and we are already hearing such loud cheers while the fight is going on.
Well, this is amazing. I'm so happy to see so many people come out here, show their support for the sport, because I've trained in England, I've trained in Singapore. Obviously, one championship is massive in Singapore. The UFC, they've hosted UFC events in England. There's Bellator, PFL, everything has been in England. So now to see this level of support in India, it's super encouraging, because I think that this is a sport that is just waiting to take off and explode in India.
You've been a national champion, so tell us what it really takes to be that champion. Especially, this is not something that is a popular sport, right? So just tell us, how did you really start? How did you really get into it? What inspired you?
So I actually grew up watching my parents do martial arts. They're both actually Taekwondo black belts. And then, watching movies, whether it's Rocky, I actually watched a lot of Bhag Milkha Bhag when I was younger. And then, you just watch WWE. Through that, I got into MMA, thought I'd give it a try. And I fell in love immediately. It was love at first sight, and it was a very humbling experience, because my first day in, I was about 85 kilos, and I was getting flipped around by people half my size. And when I say people, I mean boys and girls, half my size. And I realized, okay, this is a life skill, and this is something that I need to know. And then, of course, I ended up taking it up more competitively, and here we are many years later.
Absolutely, and just tell us that how does it really, if you can describe about Indians, in MMA, because we've seen that India has many traditional martial arts. From north to south, there is such a variety of, ancient martial arts. But with such, such events that are being organized, like you see the MFN, do you see now there will be more people from across the country who will be getting that exposure and the right talent be recognized?
Oh, 100%. I mean, just in this event alone, right, we look at the main event. We've got Chungran from Manipur, and then we've got Kantaraj, he's come from Bangalore. So these are complete different parts of the country. Then we've got Rahul Thapa in the main event, he's from Delhi. Then we've got, Sham Anand, he's from Bihar. So all over the country, and this is a massive sport, just like I mentioned, ready to take off. So it's really encouraging to see all of this, because like you mentioned, we have a strong and rich tradition of wrestling. And of course, in the Olympics, we see boxing. But not many people know that Indians in general, we have a strong martial arts culture that is deeply rooted. And it was only during colonial times that was erased. And now I think slowly people are starting to find that martial tradition and culture. So it's very encouraging to see.
In fact, one of your social media posts had, you had written that it runs in my blood, and there was a tricolor right next to that text. What did you mean by that?
So actually, I come from a family of freedom fighters. So we actually used to run akhadas, wrestling clubs. And not many people know this, but actually freedom fighters, a lot of them used to come up through akhadas, and that was their network. So not many people know that, but martial arts is deeply rooted in our history in that way as well.
So we've seen a lot of upcoming, martial arts, talent that is quite much participating here. We have Anshul, Jubli, Puja, Tomar. There are many of them who are actually, pushing the Indian talent to the international side. A word on them?
So, of course, Anshul, I'm fortunate enough to call a friend. He's gone to the UFC. He's the first one to actually really take it to that level. Puja Tomar being the first woman to ever win in the UFC from India. And I think those are the first two, but there's many more to come. It's about time, and there's going to be an army of Indians taking over the UFC and the international MMA scene.
In simpler terms, help the sports enthusiast or even the common man understand what really the mixed martial arts is about.
So it's really in the name, right? It's mixing together all the different disciplines of martial arts. So you think of your boxing, wrestling, judo, karate, taekwondo, I mean, you name it. Mixed martial arts takes all of that and puts it together. So it actually really started because there was an organization called the UFC, and they wanted to see which martial art was the most effective. So they put guys from boxing against guys from wrestling. And then slowly you started seeing that the guy from jiu-jitsu, he was the best. So everyone realized, okay, I need to win, I need to train jiu-jitsu. So then you had boxers training jiu-jitsu. Now this guy was automatically the most powerful of them all. And now everyone started learning the other martial arts. And here we are in what today is called mixed martial arts as its own discipline.
Yes, we've seen a lot of wrestlers doing well, traditionally in India and in the Olympics. But how do you see MMA, really going to that international level? You see that we have a lot of talent that can actually go to that, that top-notch level?
Oh, 100%. If you look at the international MMA scene, wrestling has dominated over the last few years, and we have a strong wrestling tradition and culture. And again, look, we see the people that go into the Olympics. What about the ones that don't? MMA is that platform, and it gives them an avenue to take it up to the next level. They have to learn boxing, they can learn karate, but they already have that foundation in wrestling. So it's perfect for them to go on and take it up. So I'm very excited for Indian wrestling, Indian boxers, and Indian MMA.
I think this is a good platform to even scout talent.
Oh, 100%. In fact, again, that's how your Anshuls and Pujas came through. They built a name through here, and then the international organizations see them and pick them up.
What does it really take to, actually take the plunge into MMA professionally? There is a lot of talks about how you build your fitness. It can be risky. It can be, it's actually quite high voltage action that we, see in that kind of sport. So what does it really take for anyone who wants to start it out?
Okay, so everyone associates mixed martial arts and martial arts in general with injuries and risk. So yes, there is an element of risk and injuries if you compete and if you take it up to a certain level. But there is also, you can practice it just for fitness purposes and recreational purposes. So if you just want to go hit the bag, learn some techniques, you can do that as well. And you can get very fit doing that. So to say that, oh, it's full of injuries and it's very dangerous, I think is completely wrong. And I encourage everyone out there to give it a try. There's many gyms around the country now where you can drop in, do a free lesson. And I really, really think that you will enjoy it.
Also for women, I think, for self-defense. So there's a lot of talk about, the safety of women these days.
Oh yeah, exactly. And there's no better way to have that self-confidence and that belief in yourself than to learn a martial art. For men and women especially.
What's your next plan of action as far as your MMA journey is concerned?
Right, so as I mentioned, I'm still in the amateur scene. I'm representing India. So in November, in Uzbekistan, Tashkent to be specific, I'm representing India at the IMAF World Championships. I'll be in the lightweight category. I'll be fighting for India. Last year I placed 5th. This year I'm going for gold.
And we will be cheering, everybody will be cheering for you.